I want to begin my Power of Now talk today by reading from a book written by Brianna Wiest. And after my talk, we'll have more music. Thank you. In this opening introduction that I want to share with you, the author refers to the world's best people as those who understand that we change our lives by changing our thinking. And what is it that we all here at the Victoria Truth Center believe? Change your thoughts, change your life. The foundation of new thought. Just going to get out my readers. I'll strain a little less. There's a reason Homo sapiens still exists today. Prefrontal cortex, which we can infer from skeletal structures. Essentially, we have the ability to think more complexly. Thus, we were able to organize, cultivate, teach, practice, habituate, and pass down a world suited for our survival. Because of our capacity to imagine, we were able to build Earth, I'll touch on that later, as it is today out of virtually nothing. In a sense, the notion that thoughts create reality is more than just a nice idea. It's also a fact of evolution. It was because of language and thought that we could create a world within our minds, and ultimately, it is because of language and thought that we have evolved into a society we have today, for better and for worse. Almost every great master, artist, teacher, innovator, inventor, and generally happy person could attribute some similar understanding to their success. Many of the world's best people understand that to change their lives, they had to change their minds. So this capacity that we have, that's allowed humans to survive, this ability to think more complexly, this is good news. But it's what we've chosen to do with it. It's what we've chosen to do with it, consciously or unconsciously. Because of our capacity to imagine, the author wrote, we were able to build Earth as it is today out of virtually nothing. As I read this line to my partner, he paused to question the accuracy of this statement. And he said, did we build Earth? Or were we gifted Earth? Was Earth a gift? Is it our host? And were its guests? And out of virtually nothing, is nothing all of the resources that we have on this planet? When you start to realize that every single thing we have was made from the resources that were given to us in this gift called Earth. Our clothing was woven, the dyes, from animals, from nature, from chemicals in the lab from the building that was built out of materials of steel that was found in ore and mined in the ground, and right, like it's just, everything, glass, wood, metal, art, all came from the creative imagination of the human species and our ability to manipulate raw materials. That's kind of awesome.
But it's also selfish in that it's only our perception that it's worth something to us as humans.
Yes.
Like, if the world would be in less trouble if we perceive things based not just on its value or purpose for ourselves, but for all creatures of the earth.
Yeah.
Which is exactly where I'm going, David.
Oh,
Thank you. I love it. I'm applauding your passion, and I'm inviting participation in this conversation. So I'm grateful that you spoke up. Yes. So what happened to me during this discussion that I had with my partner about this sentence is my mind expanded into this realization, that everything we have came from our use of the raw materials that is the gift of Earth. And if this is true, if Earth is our host and we are the guests, then wouldn't this be like the worst Airbnb review ever? I mean, dear humans, right? Yeah. So this is about relational space, isn't it? Sharing a relational space with the earth. The way First Nations people have done for centuries. This feels really significant to me in the way that a seed has been planted and it's germinating and growing. And for me, I'm seeing the need to connect the dots so that I can wake up, clear mind, hear heart, behave differently. This is how I drop into the power of now, my choices in every moment. Listening more carefully to the undercurrent of my internal operating system and my knowing. And from this place, perhaps I can be a better guest. And I'm better positioned to heed our own advice right here in the Truth Center. The power to change our mind. Change our mind about our responsibility. To change our mind about what is convenient. To change our mind about how we consume. Maybe it needs more, maybe we need to feel more uncomfortable about the way that we consume, knowing that it creates an unsustainable host for our future generations. So how do we move forward? How do we change our mind? How do we change our normal so that we can live in harmony with Mother Nature? I certainly don't have all the answers. But as I'm leaning into this question, what I find is that in order to be in harmony with Mother Nature, it's going to take patience. Because this isn't solved overnight. And it's going to take diligence. We must stay focused in what's important for our future generations. And we must have resilience, because it's not always going to be easy.
We need to go and vote for the environmentals.
We need to go and vote, says Janet, for the environmentals.
Yeah, pardon, that's right. The ones that are, that's their priority.
Thank you.
That's what we need to do.
Thank you. That is one great action that we can take. And so as I drop us into this concept of the gift of the present moment and what the power of now can be, I think about the decisions that we make in every moment. Are we living an enjoyable life? Are we having a series of enjoyable moments? And if not, why not? What's getting in the way? Could it be the way we think about our lives? Could it be the way we think about ourselves? Could you be a witness to your own internal chatter? Be a voyeur of your own mind and observe what your thoughts are when you have a decision about what you're going to consume and how you're going to live in harmony with yourself, which is in harmony with nature. Eckhart Tolle says in his book, Power of Now, that the greatest gift we have is the act of the observer, is being able to witness our own mind and what we're thinking. That is such an important task. If you do nothing else, take time to notice what's happening inside your own thoughts and what narrative are you spinning about what's convenient or inconvenient. And as I was writing my own thoughts down about the power of now and being present to this moment of now, I noticed that I would judge what's happening as good or bad, right or wrong. And I am practicing. I am in an active practice of observing those judgments so that I can hold them a little more kindly and gracefully here. And just say, oh, hi, I notice that you've created a story that one way is better than another way. But maybe the way I feel about it is information about what matters to me. Maybe that's what I can learn from observing my own mind. I'd like to end my talk today by reading something else. It's from Seth Godin. Seth Godin is an author of 18 books, bestsellers. His books have been translated into 35 different languages. He writes about how to spread ideas and how to change our thinking. And so, yes, I jumped ahead in my notes just then, but that's okay, because I know we're running late, so I'm just going to go with it. So I'm going to read from you, when we look in the mirror. When we look in the mirror, who do we see? The person we see when we look in the mirror is the person we become. If you see someone who doesn't have a lot of friends, then every time a potential friend comes along, you'll find a way to distance yourself from the heartache of being rejected. And you'll continue to not have a lot of friends. If you see someone who isn't happy with inputs you can't control, then when new inputs come along, you'll find something wrong with them and seek more control. If you see someone who thrives on challenges, challenges will become a chance to thrive. Each day gives us the best chance in the world to see a different person in the mirror. A chance to change the stories we tell ourselves. Airplanes rarely crash. It doesn't matter. Turbulence isn't fatal. Doesn't matter. If you want to tell yourself a story about air travel, then that's your story. And as far as you can take it, it's true. It's your story, and no one can take it away from you. Perhaps you're homesick. Home is great. Home is wonderful. Missing home is a sign that you have a home that is worth missing. But being homesick is a story we tell ourselves about who we are. Who will you become? Who can you become? It turns out that when you're surrounded by people who care about you, when you have freedom and a chance to lead, you can become a different, more generous, happier, and more powerful version of yourself if you want to become the kind of person who can teach an 8-year-old how to play basketball, you can start doing that right now. And if you want to be the kind of person who leads, you can begin to lead if you want to. Because you're smart. You care. You have something to say. Because there are people who love you and care about you. And the best way to honor those people and to honor yourself is to become the person you were born to be, if you want to. Today is the best day to begin that journey. And if you wait, it gets harder. Who do you want to be when you look in the mirror? These words by Seth Godin highlight for me the nature of change. If you want to, be here now. If you want to, be someone tomorrow that you can be prouder of. I love to say that the meaning of life is to find your gift, and your purpose is to give it away. When you find something that you love doing and you take pride in the execution, when you dare to share, the ripple is clear. You radiate. It attracts positive energy. And others are inspired to follow. In Brianna's introduction that I read, she wrote, "To believe is to become." When we live in the present moment, anything is possible. When we live in the present moment, we don't let our past define our future. Everything is possible. This quote from Will Rogers, "I know worrying works because none of the stuff I worried about ever happens." So be here now. Thank you.